Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Joe and Josh Talk The Walking Dead, where we sit down and we discuss the most recent episode of The Walking Dead. And before we get into that, me and Josh would like to just, thank everyone that came over and liked our Facebook page. We launched our Facebook page today, and we want to thank every single one of you that came over, liked it, showed us your support. We thank you so much.
Much appreciated.
All right, so heading like going into this, man. All right, kind of took us by surprise because this episode had to do with Tara,
Yeah.
and she's been kind of, the I guess not really a character that has really stepped out into the spotlight much. I mean, she's had a few,
Right.
episodes to where she had a few main parts in there, but this episode really benchmarked her character.
Yeah, absolutely. She's been, like you said, kind of a secondary character for a long time, and we'd saw the scene with Tara running through the forest in the promos and the commercials leading up to this season, and I kind of thought that we would, obviously see that scene, but I didn't know that it would be a whole episode involving her. So I was a little bit skeptical at first. I mean, I have to say, like Alana Masterson, she did a really great job of,
Yeah.
keeping our interest through this episode because, like we were saying, this was kind of an off the wall episode in a lot of ways. Seeing a brand new group, new people, and probably characters who are going to become, they're going to pop up more in the future.
Yeah, most definitely. And it starts off with Tara, laying on the beach,
Yeah,
and then we had the older girl, I would say Sydney,
right.
and then the younger girl, Rachel. And Rachel, the young girl, goes over to, I guess, impale,
Yeah,
Tara in the head, and Cindy comes over and stops her.
right.
But Rachel, she was telling Sydney, no, we have to do this because they were, taught that, hey, anybody that comes onto our land, we automatically eliminate them.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
so when that happens, like immediately we're having a picture painted of these people. We're like, okay, man, Tara just washes up on a beach, and these, this little girl is ready to kill her immediately. And I think a lot of people were saying, what is going on here? Immediately, the episode is tense. But one thing I did notice, um, going back to Tara, kind of becoming a main character here with
hmm
this episode. The way Cindy and Rachel found her was very similar to the way that Morgan and Wayne found Rick in season one.
exactly.
So I'm thinking, maybe that was done purposefully. Having this symbolism here of Tara becoming this bigger player in the show in the future.
Yeah, most definitely. And you notice that like a lot in this show, if like we have paid attention. I mean, granted, we've had to go back in episodes and look again, but a lot of this symbolism, like taking probably similar situations from previous episodes and kind of like placing them in like future, episodes, just kind of like, oh, well, hey, maybe this, kind of make our brain work just a little bit. So it was interesting to see that,
Right.
you know. Um, so, okay, we're going to talk about Heath. He had a little bit, him and Tara had a little bit of a conversation. That was a big moment, I think, in the episode.
Yeah, absolutely. You tell that Heath was very conflicted about what had happened and saying, we killed these people, we did this, we broke into this building, and for all they know, like Tara is saying, they did what they had to do, but unbeknownst to her at that time, at least, as we mentioned in previous episodes, which was confirmed tonight, that was an outpost, and as we theorize, one of many outposts
Right.
that the Saviors had. And Heath, seems his attitude about the whole situation was, I think, was indicative of a gut instinct of like that was a bad move because it's like not
Right.
only does that paint us in a certain way in a certain light, um, but it could come back to bite us, and indeed it did. So they had that kind of dynamic there, that clash between them about you know do we have to kill them or could we have spared them? And then of course we saw the same thing with Rachel and Cindy talking, which was
Right.
do we kill Tara or do we spare her? So again, just a reoccurring theme in different ways, which is always good to see when they can put subtle little things like that in.
Yeah, most definitely. And okay, we're moving on a little bit ahead now.
Yeah,
Um, like okay, Heath and Terry get separated because on the bridge, they were getting attacked by walkers, and Tara apparently, she falls off the bridge.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how she winds up on the beach. Okay, now, okay, Sydney has pretty much saved, Tara from being impaled in the head by Rachel. Okay, and has dragged her like hidden behind. Yeah, I don't know what they were, but she was hidden that way nobody else would find her. And pretty much Tara was faking that she was still passed out. And as Sydney was heading back to her community, well, Tara was following her back.
Right.
So that led into an interesting situation to where I guess, this is where the whole community started coming in. Like, okay, well, this is a community. Okay, why is there, Tara even asked, why is there all women like here?
Yeah. Um, like initially, like I didn't know what to think because we see Tara go to she finds this community, and we see, like you said, it's all women, and this was something that kind of deviates from the source material in a way. So it's something new and fresh, and like you're saying, this new place, Oceanside, we didn't know what to think about it, and it's kind of like the same attitude that now all of our survivors have is when they approach a new place. It's like they don't know what to think of people. You never know what to expect in this world.
Right.
And Tara, of course, when she goes in, she gets a rude introduction,
Yeah, right.
and
See how fast you can run,
yeah,
right?
basically
Yeah.
they empty the armory, and they just start blasting away at her. Thankfully, their aim was terrible.
It's terrible.
Could not hit the broadside of a barn, and Tara manages to run. She manages to avoid getting shot. She does end up getting kind of stopped there. And the interesting thing as well, it's another point of symbolism. She gets stopped because Rachel, the young girl who wanted to impale her, pulls a gun on her,
Right.
and Tara's her girlfriend when she was at the in the Woodbury in the prison story arc, Alicia. Remember she died at the prison battle because she was shooting at Tyrese and the others, and the little girls, Lizzie and Mika, pulled guns on her. So I'm like, oh man. At first I was like, are they gonna kill her here? So it's like, but
Right.
she manages to survive, and then we find out more about this community, and we find out that they are pretty advanced given the circumstances and
Given the
how they do
circumstances.
things.
Mhm. Yeah, and how they do things. And of course, we found out that, they're, which they do have a pretty good spot. They're hidden, they're well hidden, and also they have unlimited supply of, food, because it is on Oceanside.
Right.
So naturally, they have fish. And also, they go into, of course, after Tara is, of course, captured, we'll go ahead and say captured, they bring her and sit her down to, discuss with her, okay, what are we going to do with you? We don't normally allow people to even make it this far. Usually we kill them. But at the same time, instead of doing that, they saw that Tara was a good person,
Right.
and they even offered her, hey, well, you can stay here with us.
Right.
And that's when, they start asking Tara, okay, where you come from? And, Tara, she kind of lied there for a little bit.
Yeah.
She, she,
Which was smart. Like we saw her do a couple of smart things. One with the following Cindy back to the camp, which that didn't turn out well for her. I guess you could say it did in the long run, but it got her in some
right,
trouble there at the start. But she was lying, and we find out that, like you said, they have this system here where we shoot people on sight, and it's this whole thing, and that's why the girl was saying, "Oh, we have to," and it's like this group seems very hostile, but in a way. What is hostility to one person to another person could be defensive,
right.
and we kind of see that dynamic building as well of these people being skeptical of one another, and it really goes back to like what we were talking about of, in this world, really, who can you trust? And as far as like you said, they were able to see that Tara was a good person. Going back, that's what allowed her to get out of the prison arc too. It's because you know Glenn, he worked with her to escape the prison, and then Rick had the moment with her when he talked, and he's like, I could tell you didn't want to be there. And that's what she was kind of reiterating when she got to their camp. She was like, I mean you no harm, was just looking for somebody. And of course, when they start saying, okay, well, take us back to your place or whatever, of course she's going to be skeptical, and rightfully so.
Right. Yeah, rightfully so, because of the fact, just like, they're trying to protect their own, but Tara's going to protect, Rick and the group. She's not going to just like, oh yeah, well, we live behind, the
Yeah. Come over
hill,
here, we'll
you
shut
turn
you.
right at the tree,
Yeah, you go right here.
yeah, she's not going to do that. So she's going to, do what they're doing and protect her own. So that's the reason why she does have to, at the beginning, lie to the best of her ability. But unfortunately, they found her out. She didn't know her fishing boats, so
Right, busted.
you know, busted. But um, after that whole entire conversation and stuff, they are sending two guides with Tara to, I guess, go check out Alexandria after they find out, Tara is with, Rick and all them. And so they're sending two guides to go back with Tara to meet up with Rick and the group and check out, of course, uh, Tara's community,
Right.
go ahead and say. And, well, Tara wasn't having that. Let's just go ahead
No.
and say that. She wasn't having that because, okay, this group is just they're just fishy. You can't trust them. So she's gonna try to get away.
Right.
And this is where we were having the conversation. During this of her trying to escape and stuff. Well, Cindy catches up to her, and of course, Cindy's gonna let her go, but she makes Tara swear to her that she would not tell anybody about this place. And we were kind of throwing thoughts back and forth around like eventually, do you think Tara is going to have to break that? Well, of course she swore, so she's going to have to break that. Do you think eventually she's going to have to break that? Not, I guess to do them harm, of course not, but enable for them to actually survive because of the saviors.
Yeah, because we do find out that, they mentioned it before. They said, because she asked, she's like, where are all the men? And she's like, well, we got into a skirmish. And she just says another group at the time. And she's
Right.
like, we lost them all. And we're kind of thinking, like, well, that just seems kind of, out of place, weird. And it's like, they just kind of touched on that. And then Cindy confirms later that it was the Saviors terrorizing this group as well, and that they killed all the men there. Any male was it age 10 and older.
Right.
So that tells us number one, the Saviors have an entire territory that they claim this right to control and extort, and they're much worse than we thought. They're much more brutal. They're much more ruthless because we saw what we got a taste of like what they can do when we saw what happened in the season premiere, and now we're
Right.
hearing all these stories about everything that they've done and just terrorizing these communities. And we see what's happened is they put these communities on edge where they can no longer trust each other.
Yep.
But now we're kind of seeing that if these communities can maybe get some solidarity and try to work together, they might have a chance. And that might be, like we were saying, the thing that makes her have to break that promise. Swore not to tell, but she's going to want to fight back, especially because, as we were saying, she, we see when she's going back to Alexandria, she is has the little female doctor bobblehead, and because
Yep.
she at the time she got separated and she did not know what happened to Denise.
Right.
So
Exactly.
now basically the saviors have taken things from everyone. You know,
Yes.
Rosita, she was wanting to fight, and then you have Maggie too set up in the hilltop, and now you have this entire other community here. So it's getting to the point now that, like we said, we kind of predicted that they were going to go in this direction. But interesting curveball, having this little community pop up here.
Yeah, most definitely. And then at the very end of the episode, they do show, you know, previews for the next episode, which we thought was going to be this episode,
Right? What's up with that?
but they're like, no, no, but hopefully in the next episode we do see what unfolds when Jesus and Carl actually infiltrate Negan's, compound.
Yeah,
And then we get to find out, okay, what's Daryl all about,
yeah.
and so therefore we'll start, piece some things together and stuff. It's just really turned out to be a great season. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just thought it was another great building episode, and we've been seeing a lot of episodes lately where they are building up, they're introducing new characters, and we're getting to know those characters. And sometimes, these episodes can feel a little slow and things like that. And admittedly, they're slower than certain episodes. Tonight's episode had some really good action sequences. Not only of them fighting the sandwalkers on the bridge, but of course, like we were talking about, Tara running through Oceanside, being shot at and everything. And that's another thing that's worth mentioning. Um, Cindy, the one who opted not to shoot at Tara, turned out to be one of the ones who was actually really good with a gun, because on the bridge she was able to provide good cover fire and everything like that. So
Right.
again, bringing in new characters, new ideas, and things like this, I think is really good, because we look back at some of the most emotional moments of the series. For example, Herschel's death. Well, when season two was going on, a lot of people were complaining that it was kind of slow and it was kind of dragging, a little bit too much build and everything. But what made that moment later so impactful was all those episodes we spent getting to know these characters.
Right.
Um, so, the season's tagline is "We're just getting started." So I think what we're seeing now is the show reinventing itself and bringing in all these new characters. And hopefully, like you said, next week we will start to see more tie-ins. We will start to see, okay, they've got all these people together, and now we're officially seeing the first people who are going to try to fight back. We're going to, hopefully, if the preview is accurate this time,
Yeah, if the
hopefully
preview is accurate.
we're
And
going.
like they said, in it like future like
Yeah,
future episodes. So it
yeah.
could be totally off,
Yeah, it could be totally off, man. We could be getting like another community, and it's like, wow, man, like, we're going far
you
at
know.
this. But if the previews are true, then in next week's episode we have Daryl, Carl, and Jesus all in Negan's compound, and obviously they don't even have enough manpower now in Alexandria now alone to fight the Saviors. But maybe if these three work together, they can somehow plot an escape, break Daryl out, or somehow make some ground with the Saviors. I'm worried whether they're going to try to take the approach that Carl was doing before, where he was just trying to point guns and say,
Yeah.
yeah, because Rick's already discovered that's not going to work in this situation. Um, and he brought up the idea of numbers, which is, like we said, having the communities combined now. But hopefully they'll take a subtle approach next week. But I have a bad feeling that, like,
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I'm waiting for Carl to like pull off the line like off Scarface.
Yeah, man.
He's gonna grab a gun, say hello to my little friend, and he's just, it's gonna end up
Yeah,
bad,
I think it's going that way, and like, it's it's heating up, man. Like I'm really loving it, and I think that we're having that slow build that's gonna pay off, and we have 2 episodes left in this half of season 7. So
Yeah,
I'm betting that, like, in either next week's episode or the mid-season finale, something big has to happen to kind of mark the change from, okay, we've seen the saviors terrorizing all these groups, to now hopefully we see these groups working together, at least in some effective capacity, to start a counterattack.
absolutely. And they're gonna leave us with a cliffhanger.
Of
They have
course, of
to.
course, man.
They have to. But that's what keeps us coming back for more. I mean, we love this show. I mean, like we just love these characters. So it's going to be awesome to see how all this works out. And before we close up this episode, where I've been kind of teasing, I've been teasing, that a giveaway here, on Joe and Josh Talk, and we've been talking about, and we just want to, you know, be able to do something for the fans and stuff like that, for the holiday season, and I'm not really gonna let how much it's gonna be, because there's gonna be a little twist. Okay, there's gonna be a little twist to this, because we're gonna see how much they pay attention. Okay, Josh, this is
Okay.
what we're gonna do. We're gonna see how much they pay attention. We're gonna throw a random, like, we're gonna ask them a question that's happened through this season, and whoever can answer that question right gets, the gift card of their choosing for the amount, that we'll let them know later on.
Okay.
Like, how's that sound? I think
Sounds
that
good to
sounds
me,
pretty
man.
good. I think that should be interesting. So if you've been paying attention, then hey, awesome. So we'll just have to see it. I think this is going to be fun, man. I
Yeah,
think it's
man.
gonna be fun. So, but anyways, me and Josh want to thank you again for tuning in, to our podcast, Joe and Josh Talk, The Walking Dead, and always thank you for your support. Please like, comment, share, leave your feedback on our Facebook page. Share our videos and stuff. We love to hear from you all. And we just love being here doing this for you all. It's great.
Yep. Thanks for
So,
watching, everybody.
all right, thanks.